Welcome to the Real Board Loft in episode 3 of Under the Glass. I'm Trip Foreman. We got Brett Barley with us. Brett, welcome.
What's up, y'all?
And Brett, what boards are we looking at today?
So we got two boards here. They're the same board though. This is the Pyzel Power Tiger. We got in squash tail and round tail. I was able to ride the squash tail more. As you can see, it's a little more beat up. And then tried applying the round tail when it was a little bit bigger. But yeah, it was pretty interesting comparing these two. Even though they're the exact same board, they felt different.
Looking at Season 3's focus on the Quiver, the Power Tiger is a board that John Pyzel and John came up with to go in between the Red Tiger and the Ghost. And so it's a short board like in that family, but for good waves. Shooting these 3 seasons of Under the Glass with Brett, like in his Quiver, like when it gets to like a true high performance short board, you always have like a squash tail and a round tail like in that same model. Why don't you talk to us a little bit why you like to have the 2 versions of the same board?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's a little different. I prefer squash tails when it's more playful and you're trying to slide around more and be a little more pivoty off the bottom. Mm-hmm. Obviously, it makes sense. But for me, once waves get just a little steeper, faster, more powerful, I don't like squash tails. I find myself sliding out on them more often. And that's where I really like round tails. And so, having the same board in squash and round, hopefully they feel the same and I can just apply them whether waves are more steep or less. Other people I've talked to, Corey Lopez hates round tails.
Okay, so he goes squash all the time.
He squash all the time. So it's like everyone has their things, right? So some people probably round tail all the time, hate squashes. It's just, that's kind of a personal preference.
But your goal with that strategy and your Quiver is like this board isn't necessarily a step up. It's like the same board, but just like kind of fitting better into that shape wave.
Yeah, because I mean,
power of the wave.
You got like waves this big, or say like any given day, it's like shoulder high to like overhead, but like not maybe some days you're chasing the medium ones, right? And like the sets are kind of soft and like the inside ones are punchy. Maybe some days the bigger waves are the better waves, but then you're also catching the insiders or whatever in between. So it's like, for me, having a round tail that I can chase those sets and feel good on, but then still works on the smaller waves, or vice versa, like chasing the smaller waves, but then like you're still good if you catch a bigger wave. Like that's why I kind of like having both.
Okay.
I'm analyzing it very nitpicky. That's why if I'm taking one, I'm taking 2.
Yeah. No, but it makes sense to have, I mean, like with your focus on high performance shortboard surfing, it makes sense to have those 2 in the Quiver and not have them be like so far apart that you're having to like shift gears and shift your style, but you just like a micro tweak in the like the overall shape of the board. Let's go into your height and weight and the dimensions on these.
Yeah, so I'm 5'9", by 165 pounds. And this Power Tiger here is 5'9", 18.88 by 2.31, and it's 26.4 liters.
And what about the dimensions?
And for just,
on the round tail?
They should be the exact same. They're
so
literally
5'9", 18.88, 2.31, 26.4. So same exact
thing.
across.
But the only thing I will say is like dimensionally, here, flip them over. They're the exact same dimensionally, but you got 2 different tail designs. So there is going to be differences here. This is just me like, like how does it
go deep.
How do you have the exact same dims, but I mean, technically different shapes. So like, where's the foam moved for that to even out? I don't know.
Oh, to even out the volume.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's that it goes from like here to here, But what I want to say about that is, I clicked pretty well with this board.
Okay.
And that's when I told you, I was like, hey, I really want to get it in a round tail. So we got it in the round tail, and I didn't click with the round tail.
Okay.
Which I thought that I would. This board, every time I hopped on it, I could, surf it how I wanted for the most part. This board, I felt like I was having to not bait. I was just having to ride it differently and figure it out. But again, I was trying to push it into like I typically wasn't riding this unless it was a little bit bigger. And so what I found, going back to what we talked about in one of the previous episodes, when it comes to doing airs and stuff, this board I felt super comfortable in the air on. This board I didn't. It felt a little denser, and like off the top, I couldn't just whip it around like I would normally. Well, because I can fully compare, because they're both Pyzels. This one, I love the Pyzel Radius and the Radius Prime. And so going from that to this, because they are shaped differently, that I think I was expecting it to translate the same, but it's a different board. And when, I went to Indonesia this summer, went and stayed at Macaronis Resort there.
The water definitely was bluer than here. That was
our
here.
blue water. I took both of these boards because I knew, this was kind of my small wave board. There was going to be waves the whole time, and I really wanted to try it as roundtail. I hadn't ridden it yet. And what I found was, personally for me, the couple times I kept trying it, I'd go back to the radius. And maybe it was just the way the waves were. It's Macaronis, right? Like, it's the most perfect wave in the world. But I think the way that I'm a little more front-footed.
Okay.
And so that's what I was going to say is I think what I came to learn in this, that maybe I didn't understand in this because I was riding kind of punchier, just shorter beach break waves, was that because I'm so front-footed, more so than someone like John, who made the board with Pyzel, who's very back-footed, I found myself leaning a little too hard or a little too early and maybe digging on both like the bottom turn and the carve compared to the radius that has like a more, I would guess, Pyzel might not be stoked on this because I'm just guessing. Forgive me. If it has like kind of a more smooth, straight outline versus like wherever the wide point is in this. And so on the radius, I can just like lean harder on my front foot. And it wasn't something I really learned while I was in Indo. I rode this a few times and I had some great waves and it went well. It just didn't I didn't click into it like I did with this or like I did with the radius, which is so weird. But again, I was riding that when it was bigger. My radius prime is a bit bigger board, so maybe it was just muscling through it better. But then coming home this fall, I did get to try this out one day and the waves were not good. You could have paddled out on anything and struggled. It was very strange. But I still was finding myself just leaning how I would lean and it feeling like I was catching. So that's where I started to be like, maybe this is just like, dude, John's way more back-footed than I am. Maybe this is like catered to more of a back-footed surfer. Not on purpose, just by design. And that's just like kind of food for thought. I'm spitballing here. But it got me thinking.
So it seems like out of these two, you ended up riding that one like more than the majority.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah. So let's
more pressure dings.
let's dig into the squash and just talk about like kind of range of use. What was the smallest wave?
She'll just be on display.
Sure.
It's a beautiful board.
Look at that board.
I'm not getting rid of it. Like I said, I still like it. It's just for me. It's one of those boards I gotta think about more.
So let's talk about the squash tail. Smallest waves you had fun on this board?
Maybe stomach high. I would say unideally stomach high. Like that's kind of when it comes to high performance boards. Like once you start getting below chest high, it can go if you got the right shaped wave. Obviously, we got punchy beach break waves. So on the right day, it's fine. But ideally, you want chest high and up.
Okay, but so stomach high and punchy, and
stomach high and punchy,
and bigger.
Yeah, and up because in a round tail, I surfed waves. It was like 2 foot overhead. So.
Okay, and with the squash tail, where did it kind of max out?
I don't know if I really pushed it to its max. The one day we surfed and there were some 2 foot overhead waves, solid head high to a foot overhead, and it felt good the whole time. Especially for airs and stuff, I like that control. It felt good on rail. It was really windy, so I wasn't able to be surfing super vertically. It was windy and fast, but for the most part, like in that shortboard range of like chest high to a foot or two overhead.
Talk to us about the difference. Like in the previous episode, we talked about the Channel Islands better every day as like your kind of everyday shortboard. This is like your true high performance shortboard when conditions get better. Like, what is it that you're looking for this board to do compared to the like kind of everyday board?
Yeah, so for like a high performance shortboard like this, I want to be able to control speed. I still want to be able to generate it, but like typically you're surfing waves that are going to be pushing you fast enough. So that's not compared to like that board or whatever, smaller wave boards where you want to generate speed. This is all about speed control. So for me, this is the kind of board where like I just want it to be decently good. Like it doesn't have to be clean and perfect or good, but like something where I'm trying to do my best rail turn, my best blow tail, my best air. Like for me, when I'm seeing the opportunity to surf like my best, then this is the kind of board I want to be on.
All right. And tell us about where, and that kind of like answers the question that I was just about to ask, because the question was going to be like, where does this thing fit in your quiver? And the way that you described the performance, that's like where it fits into your quiver.
Yeah. And what's great too is like this one, as you see, for the first time this season, we have the John Johns in here. These are the mediums. And again, kind of like explaining the range and the purpose of these two boards. That's where I do start mixing up with fins a lot as well, but not in the sense of like speed generation, but speed control. So in the squash, I really like these because these are in the Tech Flex. You got some spring and pop. They're not super stiff, but they're much stiffer than, you know, the Black Sticks construction. And then they're in the other one. But I actually have the Pyzel fins, which is not on purpose. I just like them. I don't know anything about their construction, so I'm sorry I'm a little ignorant on that one. But these have a little bit more rake than the John Johns. And so I'll even put these in the squash, depending on what the waves are like. If I'm riding them and it's a little bit softer and more vertical and playful, like blowtails and stuff, I like the way that those release off the top, the John Johns. If I'm looking to control speed more, it's steeper, it's punchier, then I'll ride these. Like where I'm going to do more rail turns, I'll ride the more raked out fins.
What about, Brett, accessibility on this board? We always ask for surfers below your ability level, you know, translate this board into whether or not they can surf it. Like if they're progressing to like a true high performance shortboard, is the Power Tiger within reach?
Yeah, 100%. Because it's not like so knifed out or like a step up or anything like that. Like if you're going from groveler up to like you want like that performance shortboard where you're trying to elevate your surfing, you're trying to surf bigger waves, better waves, whatever. Not bigger waves, but bigger than this. Yeah, super forgiving all around, just great from stomach to overhead. You know, it's kind of your one-stop shop board where you're going to have fun up until it gets small, and you're going to have fun up until it's like pumping.
Right.
So I really liked, again, riding the squash a lot. I really liked the versatility in it. Felt really good on rail, sliding the tail, doing airs, backside, frontside. It was just like all around, you know, high performance shortboard, fit right in line with like what my expectations would be and what I look for.
Yeah, and touching on like the Quiver theme of this year's Under the Glass, it's cool that like Pyzel and John John are like kind of thinking about that, like Red Tiger and the Ghost, and then like, okay, I'm going to put a board in between those two, but like have some of the DNA of like both of those boards, because a big, like what we found is that like a big thing with the Quivers is not having like too much of a transition from one board to the next where they're completely different.
Yeah.
And then you have to like almost learn how to resurf, like when you go from board to board.
Well, and that's what's funny is like I absolutely love my Ghost Pros. Like love those boards. And so I assumed that hopping on this, it was just, well, maybe not that one, but this one, the round tail, I was like going to click right in with it. And I would say that those two boards are different enough. Like I wouldn't say like, oh, if you rode one of these and didn't like it, don't get a Ghost. Like a Ghost is, because it is a step up and that wide point's a little further forward. Like I love that. And so you're approaching different kinds of waves. You're approaching bigger waves. Like on a bigger wave, you're not necessarily over your front foot as much, even for me. So, yeah, Ghost, still absolutely love the Ghost.
Right. Compared to this.
Compared to this, yeah. It's, well, or this round tail,
Sorry.
Like the difference is, I don't know. I was surprised, but I would go from this to the Ghost. I would go straight from the squash to the Ghost. I would almost rather go from the squash to the Ghost.
Okay, that makes sense. Makes sense. Awesome.
But that's my surfing.
Awesome feedback, Brett. Viewers, any questions on the Pyzel Power Tiger, or would like to place an order for one, either stock or custom, you can always reach us at the shop, 252-987-6000, or look us up online, realwatersports.com/surfing. Thanks for tuning in.